Okay, so not too long ago, I got a comment that asked me if hyper catalysts are worth it, and basically that just gave me the idea to talk about fuel a little bit. Of course, I already answered him on what I think is personally better than hyper catalysts, but this is just my thought. Again, this is my opinion. You can disagree, you can agree. It's really all up to you because I'm gonna warn you beforehand. My opinions are mostly like unpopular ones because of just how I think of things. Like this will just be a top three and some honorable mentions. We're gonna start with the honorable mentions, which are going to be charcoal from here, enchanted charcoal. Now this is for early game players because obviously they can't afford enchanted lava buckets and 20% for 36 hours. That's not half bad, especially for an early game player. They don't have to pay anything. They just have to pay basically 2,000 coins at most for 36 hours, every 36 hours. That's nothing. They can literally make that 2,000 coins like 5 minutes of gameplay. So, Enchanted Charcoal, I think it's a good fuel for early game players, even mid game players sometimes if you're budgeting, because mid game is very expensive. Now, how much does coal give actually? 5%, that's not worth it for sure. 10% for 24. Yeah, just go for Enchanted Charcoal. It has the best value out of all the coals and 36 hours. I don't know if that works. I'm gonna be very honest. But Enchanted Charcoal, go ahead and use it if you're an early game player. It's really cheap. Like, really cheap. And the next honorable mention will have to go to the Catalyst because, in my opinion, the only real, like, reason to use Catalyst is during Derpy. And that is mainly because of double drops. You get double drops from Derpy, you get Hyper Catalyst, which times 4, you go normal Catalyst times 3, depending whatever you want. You'll be getting a lot of minion outputs. So using it for Derpy is probably like the best way to use it, and that's when you usually the prices for what are they called, Hyper Catalysts specifically, like they just jump up because everyone's buying them. They want to use them for Derpy, and people basically profit off them if they flip it. So that's the main reason why I think hypercatalysts and catalysts are not as good as other fuels, because I only really see them being used for derpy. Now for the top three, again, before I get started, my top one and two are going to be very questionable to some people, but if you disagree, I'd like to know why. If you agree, then I also would like to know why, because, well, I wanted to know how you feel about like my thought process. If you think like I'm wrong, tell me why. If you think I'm right, like just tell me why, because I like to know opinions. So, number one, I'm just gonna start with number one, get it over with. I would have to say hamster wheels. And this is where I usually just get completely bombed with questions because, well, people don't think hamster wheels are better than foul flesh. There's only like a small amount of people who do, and I'm one of them. Mainly because look at the time difference. 63 days, or I guess 64 because it's counting down the days already. But 64 days for 50%, I will take that. Compared to 14 days for 90%. And I keep saying this. If Foul Flesh was 12 hours with the same thing, or even like 80% for 12 hours, this would hands down be the best fuel without any like debate. So, Foul Flesh, 14 days, Hamster Wheel, 2 months. So, value wise, hamster wheels are better, and that is very important to me because I am just AFKing. I really am just AFKing, and I want to spend at like the least amount of money. So I would have to refuel this at least 4 times before this runs out. So I don't want to do that. It's spending more money, and I'm very confident that you can profit more even without the extra 40%. So that's just how I feel about hamster wheels. They are a tad cheaper, just a little bit. It's a day compared to 5 hours. And even though this is a whole second apart, like look at this, 6.7 for hamster wheels. If I can touch this, 5.5 seconds for slime minions. Like, it really is a big difference in time. 63 days, 13 days, or I guess 2 weeks and 2 months. It really is a very big gap. Of course, I am going to be checking this again within 2 weeks. So just remember that this thing basically has 4 mil. This thing also has 4 mil basically. So within 2 weeks, I am going to be checking this. And, well, depending on how I feel about it, I will talk about it probably. Because who knows, I might have a change of heart. So for now, I would love to say hamster wheels are better. And foul flesh comes at a close second. They're very close. They're not like too far apart. Honestly, between them, it really is just personal preference. If you prefer time over the extra 40%, then good for you. Then use hamster wheels. If you want the extra 40% over time, then go ahead and use foul flesh. This one is probably the most debatable because a lot of people say foul flesh is better, a small amount of people say hamster wheels are better. I just personally love the time difference. The time difference makes up for like how much you have to pay for it. Because you're for sure gonna be able to pay them off, both of them. But how much will one? How much will one of each give? Like right here. I have one foul flesh because I wanted to see it, and one hamster wheel. How much will each of these make when their time expires? So, like, which one will be more worth it overall? 5 hours, you gotta change this thing if you only put one. A day, you can make so much more. So, that's just my thought. Number three will, well, it's right here. Any of the buckets. Whichever one you feel is the best for you, then go ahead and use it. I'll show you the time differences right now, at least for a tier 11 slime minion with a beacon buff, because I think that's the only buff they're having right now. So let's see. 9.3 seconds, enchanted lava bucket. We'll put the magma bucket here, and we'll put the plasma bucket right here. And keep in mind, they started off at 9.3 seconds. So first, the enchanted lava bucket is at 7.8 seconds. It's not terrible because, again, unlimited fuel. You don't gotta ever pay again. Now, magma bucket, 7.5 seconds, only a 0.3 difference, so not too, like, big of a difference, but it could be significant at times. But the price difference, honestly, I don't know why this is so much. Like, why? Why is it so much more than Enchanted Lava Bucket? It does not give that much more than Enchanted Lava Buckets. It's such a big price gap. 200k, 2 point, basically 2.5 mil. I'm just gonna round that to 2.5. And Enchanted Plasma Buckets are just Plasma Buckets. They're valued around that much. Very expensive. But 35% unlimited fuel for 7.3 seconds. So really, the difference between an enchanted lava bucket and a plasma bucket is not that big. It's not even a second difference. But the thing is, it's unlimited. So the value's there. This is basically a one-time payment, unlike hamster wheels or foul flesh. But the difference between these two and that, you can technically make more faster. But again, if you want value and you basically just don't want to buy fuel ever again, then just put plasma buckets if you want, enchanted lava buckets if you're really on a budget, especially for early mid-game players. Plasma buckets are mainly if you just want to burn money, honestly. There's no reason to really get plasma buckets, especially since they don't really change that much from enchanted lava buckets. And the price difference is, again, a little too much, in my opinion. Like, I know it's expensive to craft and all, but really? Almost 7 mil? And this is only not even 500k for a point 0.6 difference? Not even a full second difference? Maybe if this was 40, yeah, maybe if this was 40%, it would be like a lot better, but it's not. So we'll just go with that. Number one for me is hamster wheels. Number two, foul flesh. And again, these two are basically just personal preference. Whichever one you feel is better and whichever one you want to use is best, really. If you think foul flesh is better and has more value to it, then go ahead, foul flesh. If you have, or if you believe hamster wheels are better, then go ahead and use hamster wheels. Either way, you are going to profit because they only cost about, I'm going to say 30k at most, because I've actually seen them go up that high. So 30k, 5 hours for a really fast minion. That is literally nothing. And if you're using it for a mob minion like I am, that's actually nothing. Like, I need Witherborn to activate, but just look at my money right now. 428, or I guess 429. Let me fly up here so I don't get hit. Just look at the change in my money. See? That's just every 30 seconds. Plus all the drops I get, which I have at 64 mil right now. And if you're offline, you make a ton of money as well, because, well, they just hold it if you have enchanted hoppers. So that's just my thought process. Let me know what you think. And, well, I am going to be checking 2 weeks from now when the foul flesh expires, and I'll compare how much they make. And this will be both offline and online AFK mixed, because I don't know if I'm gonna get disconnected. Recently, I've had pretty decent AFK sessions, so I'm pretty sure I can do more online now, and I actually hope so. But for now, I'll end it here, and we'll see you next time.